Hi, my name's Juliet, and today I'm going to show you how to do a mystery spy. Okay, Bond style cover reveal. I'm going to show you this with a shape other than a circle, because the standard ellipsis is very oval, and you have to calculate the circle shape. And, well, it gets complicated, especially with the zoom out. If you want to see how to do that, freeze frame this for a starting point and put your maths head on. What I have here are 3 layers on my timeline: a blurred background image of the book cover, enlarged, the book cover itself, and on top of that, a black colour layer. All the work happens on the black layer, so I'm going to go to Filters and select Mask. This is used for masking out areas and can be used in many ways. I'm going for a diamond shape this time. Next, I'm going to pick a Subtract mask, so the shape is cut out of the black. I also want to make it a hard edge, so I get rid of the softness. There are 4 keyframes in this filter. 2 are for coordinates and 2 for the size of the mask. I'm going to ignore the size keyframes to start and just activate the coordinate ones. I'm starting at the centre point, but you don't have to. Now, the first thing to do is to take note of those measurements in the filter, because that's what we need to come back to at the end, so that the cover reveal opens out from the centre of the page, which is generally going to look better, especially if that's where your book is. So to make the shape move around, move your cursor a little way across the image and change the coordinates. Nothing is set until you move your cursor again, so you can play around with this a little. Then move the cursor again and change the coordinates again, and so on. I'm only going to do a few here, but you can do as many as you want. It's a good idea to test things as you go along so that you get the speed right. This one is probably going to be a little fast, but as this is just a demo, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now, to finish with bouncing the diamond around the page, I move the cursor again and go back to those starting measurements so it's centred, while at this point I activate the other 2 keyframes. This is where I'm going to make the diamond start to expand for the reveal, so I don't need to change these measurements yet. Then I move the cursor along and change the size measurements to 100%. And that's your Bond-esque cover reveal. I'll play them both again for comparison. Oh, and this music is from the YouTube library. I was definitely too close with the jumps with the diamond. Of course, you don't have to use a black overlay. You could use any colour, or image, and a more leisurely speed, even with softened edges. That could give you a really different effect that doesn't remind you of a spy at all. Thanks for watching, and if you've subscribed, I'll see you again next time.